Hi.
Episode 5. Welcome to the Degenerates podcast, where we are shit talking and getting your unique perspective from all types of things happening all around the country and or Houston, or just wasting fucking time, because that's what fucking
like
degenerates do.
Yeah.
Today, we do not have Juliet. Juliet is currently about to either on a plane or has already landed in New York City. She's going to have a great weekend. So today we have Marcela, my sister, who is usually
on the other
behind the scenes with the audio and the other mic and having insightful conversations. So today she's on camera. Hopefully one day we'll be able to get like everybody on camera and figure out a way to just like have the behind the scenes be behind the scenes. But until then, we're just gonna keep it up. We didn't want to not record.
Yes.
For 1 week straight, because the next couple weeks are going to be a little crazy. So we were just like, we have to figure out a way to plow through. So Before we get started, we have to do a shot, because that's the way this works. Boom. Got it. In essence, yes.
Shot?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Tequila, baby.
Okay.
Not like amazing tequila. Yeah. It's all right.
It is all right.
It's all right.
I've had smoother. I actually just recently found one that I was like,
A good
I
tequila?
could sip on this all day. It might have just been my particular taste that I enjoyed that particular tequila.
Tequila,
I don't know.
people are always like, man, tequila is just like for shots, and like tequila this. I'm like, no, you can actually like have a wide ranging of like really great tequilas that are like very subtle. So despite the fact that they're relatively easy to make or distill, like you can still get a pretty wide range. And I learned this from Pastry Wars.
Did you really?
My man.
Pastry Wars. I'm still so sad.
My man's Saul over at Pastry Wars was learning me plenty things every time that I would show up, which was for a good amount of time, like maybe even a couple times a week, just showing up to the bar and just being like, yo, like what
they broke my blackout cherry, because that was the one
Your
and only
blackout cherry?
Yeah, you know, like the first time you ever black out getting drunk, like they were it for me.
Oh, that was my fault, huh?
What?
That was my fault. You see this is now starting to be a regular theme when it comes to the people.
You are the source of
the
that
people that are around me. And we're just, because I would just end up being all right. Like I would just end up being like, hey, you know me, at the end of the night, I'm like, it's like 1:30, 2 a.m. I'm like, yo, have you seen that horse? Like what? And then everybody around me is like,
yeah.
And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. No, in a matter of like an hour or two,
An hour?
Wait, that was my mistake.
You need to fucking limit yourself.
That was my mistake. So first of all, I was under 21. I wasn't supposed to be in there. I had like a...
Hey, remember you're 15?
Oh my God, yes. So drunk as...
That was good.
Okay, like you were just straight chilling, straight vibing through all the dances and stuff. We have video of you doing
video of
this.
me?
You literally doing
Okay,
this.
so for reference, in case you are out there watching this podcast and you are not Mexican and you are not Mexican American or any kind of this Hispanic culture, when a young woman is about to be 15 years old, traditionally speaking, they're gonna go through their quinceañera, which is their rite of passage towards womanhood, which is kind of, in theory, on a long-term level, like on a retrospective level, kind of bullshit, because like
Very
in this
bullshit.
country, like even then, like you're 15, you're a fucking child, you can't do shit or whatever, right? But it is a phenomenal reason to fucking party.
To get your brand new 21-year-old brother drunk. That's what it was.
To fucking party. It is a perfect reason to party.
God.
There's food, there's drinks, there's family everywhere, and then you're just like drinking. So
I was 16. You had just turned 22 that year.
I was.
It didn't even dawn on me that you were that young. Oh
I was pretty young.
You were a baby.
So
you
I
were,
was
brand new into that. No wonder you got lit. So let me tell you what was happening on the floor out there. First of all, I was dancing around everywhere, because of course I was a 15 girl. It was my day. And then everybody in the family or somebody somewhere bought every single table a bottle of tequila.
A whole bottle.
I didn't know this, but it was like, what was it?
It was like you know, like Mexicans like doing this dumb shit where they're like, let's get a godfather for this, or a padrino. That's what godfather.
So I had somebody somewhere, a padrino, that gave every single table a bottle of Centenario, which is like a pretty big bottle of tequila.
It's añejo tequila too.
It's añejo too, so it's like all reposado and shit. Like it looks real cute and whatever. You know that shit hit you hard. It definitely hit you ass hard.
Yeah, it hit my ass hard.
We're dancing and stuff, and at one point or another, he had a cup of something. I was right in front of you when you did this too.
I seen
he
the
literally
pictures.
like ooh ooh ooh. ooh. And then walks away and starts dancing again. And it was literally like what? And literally less than like a minute later, you see people out here slipping on shit, and you're like, "Whoa, what's happening on the floor?" And
What's
Juan was
happening
like,
on the floor?
What's happening on the floor? I don't know what's happening on the floor.
I had a cup
He
the
was just
entire
straight
time.
chilling.
Well, because on top of the fact that there was a bottle for every table,
Yeah.
there was also extra bottles.
And
in
not
the
only
back.
that, but like the people weren't all that interested in drinking the bottles because there was free beer, and there was
free beer,
they
yeah.
like prioritized having ample amounts of fucking beer that
Yes.
day.
I think
so
out of our
most
family-
of the men were in the like beer.
Yeah, the beer section. I think out of our family, I was the only one. Like, and I
Drinking
mean even
actual
extended
liquor.
family and past that. Like, I think I was the first, if not the first one, maybe the only one to some degree that actually like dabbles in like hard liquor.
Absolutely. Mostly
Because
everybody
everybody else, and even then on the beer game, like.
You do as well.
Like on the beer game, I'll like branch out and be like drinking like stouts and like
you got
fucking
dad out
Belgian
here on
triples
some
and
fancy shit. So like now that he brings his little homeboys from Mexico, they're all like, "Ooh, this is
What is this? Yeah, and we're
like,
trying we're trying beers from like fucking Belgium and like
Como mi tío Piojo
Antarctica
out here
and like
getting
all
all
the,
sorts of-
we did a beer from the moon once and shit like, and it's
Yeah.
all exotic and all this crazy
real.
shit. So I think I'm not. But that day of your party, I remember it vividly because I showed up. I wasn't living with you guys, so I knew that everything comes to me by like third party because I got out the house like when I was at the age that you had your party.
Yeah.
That's the age that I left the house.
Yeah.
So I always get my information third hand, like,
yes.
second hand, third hand information. So they're like, "Yo, your sister's party is this weekend. You gotta go." I'm like, "All right, I'll make sure that I'm not out of town. I'll make sure that I'm not doing anything crazy." All right, I showed up. So I show up, and I don't necessarily have like a job to do, and because everything's technically all
Your
accounted
job was
for.
to dance with all the tias.
My
That's literally your
job,
job.
I got there, and my dad comes to me and grabs me by the fucking right here, and he's like, "You just have to make sure that everybody's having a good time."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, you're saying
That's
that
my job?
You're saying that I just have to MC? I just have to keep the vibes up?"
Yes.
Done.
Done and done.
I
You
used to
literally-
be
you
an
literally
MC
did
for
that, though.
weddings. So like I was like, "Yo, like this is like let's
This is
go.
news. What?
Let's go." I know you didn't know that. You
No, I know.
that-
I know. I don't know a lot of things that you've done.
there's an entertainment service somewhere around out there. I did like one bar mitzvah. I did a couple weddings. I was fucking emceeing the shit out of all this crazy shit.
Oh my
So
god.
just to keep the vibe. So I had training ahead of time how to keep the vibes fucking high. So I'm like, you know what? In order to be keeping the vibe up for the people, you have to be one of the people.
You gotta be vibing.
So
with the
if there's a
people.
bottle at every table, and I don't have a table,
I have to have a bottle.
I have to have a bottle. So that was my rationale, which I think is foolproof. And I went to get a bottle. I went to get my double cup because I'm still from Houston.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like chilling. And I just start pouring myself a little bit, and I like drinking liquor straight. If it unless somebody's like making me like a great cocktail, like I really appreciate.
That wasn't something that I didn't know that that's what you were drinking. I was 16, so I didn't really have like a full concept of what was actually happening that
you
day.
were having fun,
and I didn't know because all my little friends, little 16-year-olds and stuff like that, were drinking too, and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not doing any of this?
First of all, we're not condoning teenage drinking, by the way. Do not go and start drinking just because we're about to tell you some funny ass stories about us drinking.
Yes.
We're just telling you that this is a documentarian's point of view of our life so far.
Thus far,
and
yes.
this is just for reference in case they ever make a Lifetime series about how tragic our life is.
Did not condone this. Anyways, so everybody was having like fun time drinking this stuff. First, I honestly didn't even know that there was actual tequila bottles at each like table till maybe like a year ago. I'm 23.
So you're just sitting there chilling.
I didn't know. Like I heard people say like, "Oh, we got a bottle of," because that's the thing. In Mexico, they don't call like hardcore alcohol like alcohol. They're like,
they call it vino.
They call it vino. So my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, everybody got little wine bottles. I didn't think they meant like alcohol. So I was like,
Mexican culture versus American culture in terms of drinking is like so different. Like so different.
So I 100% thought everybody had a bottle of wine. I was like, you can't get that drunk off wine. Like,
I heard bitches in Sex and the City be having one whole wine bottle a night. Like, it's not a big deal.
It was like not a big deal. So like, so whenever I heard that, I was like, all right, this is not that big deal. But then again, literally a year ago, I come to find out it was actually tequila, and I was like,
that explains a lot.
That explained everything. I was like, that totally explains everything. That explains why you were drunk off your ass, but you weren't really drunk.
No, I wasn't.
You were
like, I was steady. You were
I paced
myself.
You even drove us home.
I even drove you home. Like, Mom's at the end of the night.
Our mother, who is like the biggest like advocate for people not drinking, was all about Juan driving that day. She was all like, oh, he's fine. You can drive the kids home, right? By the way, he drove a couple kids home.
I drove the kids. I drove her. I drove her friend. I drove like 3 of her friends, my brother. Like the youngest people
were all squished into your car.
That were like supposed to stay over at that, because that's the other thing in the quinceañera. There's the party, and then there's the after party, and then there's some crazy shit like you go back to the house of the quinceañera, and we keep it going because we're gonna keep it going. So that we had to do that, and so there we are. My mom's is like, hey, like can you drive the children home, please, because they need because we have to bring like all the food back and like all the crazy shit, because we ain't wasting food. You know what I mean? So then all this is happening, and they're like taking care of it. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I could drive the kids back. Like, the kids are good. We're good. And she didn't find out until, I don't know how long later, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a year or some change. I don't know. It was a long time before she was like, wait, you were drinking?
Wait, no.
I was like, Moms, I finished the whole bottle.
But that's the thing though, like, she found out you were drinking, right? But it wasn't until maybe like 2 years ago or a year ago that she actually understood and accepted the fact that you were actually drinking like more than she thought you did.
Yeah.
So she was like, maybe like about a week or so later, she was all like, oh, you were drinking? Okay, that's not that bad, but you were fine, right? Yeah. And then now that she knows how you drink, she's like, wait, you drank.
Oh, yeah.
And I let your ass drive these kids home? She's like, ooh.
She sure did.
Ooh, momentary lapse of judgment.
She sure did. Like, this brings up a good